in honor of my mom, Leah Shenandoah. Skana Aizi Wanandan Yohage Skana Aizi Wanandan Yohage Ahun Gwego Ahun Gwego Ungwa Nigola Ungwa Nigola Skana Aizi Wanandan Yohage Skana Aizi Wanandan Yohage Ahun Gwego Ahun Gwego Ungwa Nigola Ungwa Nigola Skana Aizi Wanandan Yohage Skana Aizi Wanandan Yohage Ahun Gwego Ahun Gwego Ungwa Nigola Ungwa Nigola. Alchemist of Feeling. Umbila tenga teo Umbila tera kanda bunde Umbila kala tenero Umbila tendelempa tumboe. She laughed, oh did she laugh? The creases in her face told of the many days her laughter filled the rooms where she stayed. An old one now, once radiant and beautiful, she laughed because we didn't show our damaged core. We laughed for those who couldn't cry out from behind locked doors or stolen from her womb. Laugh into the night's quiet embrace, tear streams on her wrinkled face. While I couldn't understand, I wept at her feet, trying to grasp the why and how she laughed at everything. Balakado tambado, balakado talatamboe, balakado tero, balakana talatamboe. The edges of her mind unfurled sweetly, tendrils lapping at what she yearned for, what could have been. You see, the laughter came from a place of healing. There was strength in that laughter, meant for you and meant for me. Balakala tenowi, balakala tana tambayo, otelakete mberepo, okalakese tambarandere, an alchemist of feeling, transmuting within, standing on the outside. Shambles deeper than skin, bones mend and bruises fade, but genetic strands damaged with lifetimes of hurt and suffering makes me question the intentions of the powers that be. It doesn't seem fair to me. Balakana tenowi, balateno kana teno, balateno temodi. There must be a reason. Hopefully one day when we look back we can understand. Until then, my friend, hold my hand as we laugh until the bitter ends. Balakano tanowi, balakano tanato, balateno tenohi, balakano tenohu. Suguli skanagoga niungyat skahawita, Onyo'ta aga degnagal, tahuni niwagita lodo. My name is Leah Shenandoah. I'm Oneida from Oneida, New York, and I'm Wolf Clan. I'm a singer, songwriter, and I'm also an artist and designer. I'm currently a Ph.D. student at Cornell University in Apparel Design. My research is based on decolonizing Haudenosaunee regalia and investigating the potential healing benefits from empowering our people and decolonizing our regalia. I'd like to start off by honoring my mom, the late Joanne Shenandoah. She passed last fall, and I sang with her professionally my entire life. I began when I was age 5 at the Milwaukee Summer Fest. In front of, I think, 5,000 people or something, I forget. But we've performed all over the world, the Vatican, the White House for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Really grateful for the opportunities she bestowed on me through her career. It's 6 months as of yesterday since she's passed. So we are doing our best to try to hold it together, and yeah, I miss her, obviously, but I'm a mother of a 3-year-old son, Ryder Shenandoah, and they were very close, so it's been pretty hard, but you know, I'm my native name, which I mentioned earlier, Gahawita, means she carries it along, and that's what I'm trying to do with my music and my art. She would want me to, and I asked her for guidance, you know, as I'm recording here, and we're actually in our backyard. We live on the original homestead of Chief Shenandoah, who lived and died here at the age of 110, I believe. So it's a very beautiful and historical place. Technically Oneida Castle, which our original name was Tikanalohale, which means head on a pole, which is kind of badass, but anyway, I digress. So I've been making art and music my whole life. My grandmother is the late Macy Shenandoah, who was a Wolf Clan mother, and she sold native jewelry at powwows for 40 years or so, and you know, I grew up around that life and making crafts with her at a very young age. I never believed that that could be my passion later on in life. I just loved it, and I loved hearing her stories and you know, it was just a really wonderful time to spend with her. I grew up in Maryland and then on the Oneida Nation territory from like 4th through 7th grade, I believe. And I used to sneak out at night from our trailer and go hang out with my grandma, which I realize probably sounds pretty nerdy, but I'm grateful for that time that I had with her. She passed in 2009, and her Oneida name was Yagulihuyani, which means she teaches, and I have her name tattooed here on my right arm, because this is the arm I create art with. And then I have my mom's name tattooed here, Tikaliwakwa, which means she sings. So I hold my art and tools and stuff with my right hand and my mic with my left, generally speaking, subject to change. But anyway, I'm just really grateful for this opportunity to work with home fires. It's really pretty awesome. I've been so incredibly busy raising my son, trying to finish my dissertation during a pandemic. It's just been one thing after another. My dad is Doug George Canandio, who is a journalist and activist, and he's madly in love with my mom. They were together for 30 years, and it takes our breath away. The grief is intense, as you can see, obviously, but it's still just such a shock because she was such a dynamic person, and so full of life. So, we're doing our best to keep moving forward. I eventually want to turn this place into sort of music and art camp for children, as well as a museum to honor her and her legacy and her career. I'm really passionate about giving back to our people through my education and experience when it comes to music and art and stage presence. I'm not technically trained, I'm ear trained, but I was probably being sung to since the womb, so my son is also very into music and dancing, and hopefully I can try to get some video of him. He's turned shy from the camera, which I can understand because I always hated it. That's why I like art, is because it's something external from me. I feel very awkward on stage and in front of the camera and stuff. So that's always been a thing. My mom was just incredibly elegant and beautiful and just made for the stage. She just owned it. And I think, what's sort of funny is that she had a introvert, awkward daughter in me. but yeah, I don't know. It's been an amazing life. I mean, we've traveled all over the world, and I was allowed to see so many amazing things that expanded my worldview in ways that I couldn't have, asked for anything more. I think as a child I craved stability, in home life situation, but as an adult I see the benefit in that. The education I received on the road, we had so many amazing experiences and met so many amazing people everywhere, and saw sacred sites and just really, really cool stuff. And it all seems like a dream now or something. Like, I feel like I've lived almost 3 lifetimes. I've spent a lot of my life singing with her and also in school. I started my academic journey. I was sort of struggling in high school, so rather than allowing the high school to sort of push me aside, because my test scores were the highest in the county. However, my grades weren't reflecting that, so I think a little bit of rebellion was going on. But basically I wasn't being challenged, so I decided to drop out of high school and get my GED and go to college early. So I finished my first semester when everyone was graduating in my grade. I took graphic design for 3 years, from 99 to 01, And then I went to Syracuse University from '03 to '06. I started out in fashion design and then switched to textile design, and I have a Bachelor of Science cum laude in textiles from Syracuse University. And after that I went to Rochester Institute of Technology, and I received my Master of Fine Arts in Metals and Jewelry magna cum laude in 2011. And now I'm currently at, as I mentioned, Cornell University, and I was slated to graduate this summer, but because of the intense grief I've been dealing with, it's just been one thing after another. I'm just doing my best to stay afloat and try to move forward with my passion and be a good mom, and a good relative. And even if that means just trying to take care of myself for once, that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm trying to do anyway. It's been pretty rough. I have had to deal with a lot of really difficult things. My son's father passed away last March, and so my son has lost two major people in his life at a very young age. And he's just a brilliant kid. I'm so impressed by him. He's so funny and wild and cute and smart. It's pretty awesome. I definitely want more. Trying at the moment to see if I can with my boyfriend Sean. He came into my life around the time my mom was passing, and braved COVID for me, which was really pretty sweet and romantic, as strange as that sounds. But the last day I had spent with her before she passed, I was telling her about him, and she was very excited. And she had not been very well for a while, and not very lucid, I guess. And she woke up from a nap and was like, well, if you want to get hitched, just let me know, I'll bougie myself, because she was a minister and had married several people. And I was like, are you trying to say you want Sean and I to get married? And she was like, yeah. And I thought that was just the cutest thing. So she had passed after a long illness down in Arizona at the Mayo Clinic. They had denied her a transplant, and we had got her a spot at the Presbyterian Hospital in New York City, but she had passed before that. I think she was waiting for us to say goodbye, so that was really hard. I'm really glad that my son could be there, and my cousin Gretch was there too, by our side. And there was a lot of controversy after she had passed, and ultimately I know that my love for her is real, and Creator knows that, and she knows that. And we just do the best we can. That's what my grandma always said, do the best we can with what we have. And so that's what we're doing. Pretty much everything we do is in honor of her, and also those who are to come before us, or after us. So it's very inspiring. And when I think about the ancestors and the sacrifices they made for us to be here as Indigenous people, to survive genocide, and the current systemic oppression and things that our people have to endure, I feel very blessed and powerful in ways that I never really could comprehend until I became a mother. So I'm really grateful for that. I think there's infinite potential in our Indigenous people, and people like my mom and my grandma and my aunties, my family, they're all artists and very powerful and beautiful people. The path that they have left for us is just beautiful and powerful, and to see our young ones and their faces light up when there's something that inspires them, or joy, or anything to do with their passion, that's what keeps me going, is that seeing the light bulb go off. I know my mom was really passionate about that also. So that's what I'm going to continue doing with my life and my career and my passions. I'm not quite sure where things are going to go from here. I have several different styles ranging from jazzy, improv, Billie Holiday type stuff to sort of, we're calling it Haudenosaunee. My band Hannah Bones, which is with my cousin George Sklavos and Guy Stout and our friend Tyler Babcock. We started this band at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's really exciting to see how much we progressed as a group. It's definitely something out of my realm of experience, but there's some really powerful messages in there. For example, the Galvarino song is about a Mapuche warrior whose hands were cut off by the Spaniards, and he put knives there instead. So there's some really heavy content, so I think the juxtaposition between my vocals and my cousin Guy's vocals, it's really intense, and it's meant to be. These are intense issues, and just simply the act of existing is an act of resistance. So even on our worst day, we're doing amazing. We're still here, and that's the most powerful and beautiful thing I could even ever imagine. So there's just, there's a lot to unpack there. What does decolonizing mean? What does it mean to live life without trauma? I'm not sure, but I know what joy looks like and passion, and I know that when I'm creating art or music, that flow state is healing for me, and it has to be for others. That's why in our Haudenosaunee teachings, we're supposed to find our passion and go with it, and my parents did that for me. My mom, I think, left too soon. It wasn't her time. So it's my obligation to continue in whatever way I can. So I'm doing that to the best of my ability. There's just powerful legacies standing on the shoulders of giants, of matriarchs, of our ancestors. I'm a direct descendant of Chief Shenandoah, who helped George Washington in the Revolutionary War. I'm also a descendant of Mary Jimerson, who was a European slave who decided to stay with the Seneca rather than go back to her own people. So it's really interesting, the historical components involved in what, collaborate together today, and especially on this historical property, which is definitely haunted. But, I like to think that ancestors are looking out for us, and, it's not a burden, it's a blessing. Trying to heal our familial lines and break cycles. The insidiousness of colonialism and what it's done to our people is very apparent. I think growing up, I had heard of, such things as, blood quantum and its detrimental effects towards us. But until I took an Indigenous Studies methodology class at Cornell, I didn't realize how vicious and hurtful and difficult these things are. For example, I learned about the Dawes Act while I was pregnant with my son, whose father is Welsh, and I'm thinking these men in the 1800s wrote rules that we're following and turning on each other against that affect my baby. Like, how does this compute? I think I dissociated and left my body, and I'm not sure I fully have come back yet at that point, since that point. So yeah, there's a lot of, it's like a can of worms, right? But when you think about what our ancestors have survived, I think that the resilience and humor and strength and beauty in our teachings are vital to our existence, such as the Anishinaabe scholar Gerald Bisner coined the term survivance, focusing on those beautiful things rather than the victimry of, our suffering. So, there's a lot of really interesting stuff that I have learned through my travels, through my educational experience, and my own life and passions and stuff. But I've definitely had my fair share of difficulties. I was my mom's caregiver from 2015 to 2016, and that definitely was awful. They gave her 3 months to live in 2016, and she ended up living up until this past November. I actually had my son to try to convince her to stay longer, which she called me out on. She knew that was my goal. Unfortunately, she couldn't stay around for longer, but I know that she's watching over us. She visits me in dreams and other people too, and lives on through me and my son. So that was really, really difficult. And so I'd tasted at different times experiences of what would happen, when people you love and care about turn on you. And so I dealt with that then, and I dealt with that this past year. But I'm still here. Nothing's going to change who I am as a person, and that I know that I do everything to the best of my ability with a good mind and heart, and that's what matters. My grandma taught me that also. And then we were robbed by ex-boyfriend and a relative, and this was after my mom was sick in 2016, and I was also held hostage by knife point in 2007, and I've had PTSD ever since then, and in some ways I feel robbed of any sense of security or trust or safety, which I'm working on. But as a mom, I'm much more keenly aware of just trying to do our best and live a good life. And it's definitely been weird and different and difficult, but also beautiful and empowering. So there's the duality of life there. But everything I do now, I do for my son, and that is very inspiring because I didn't have that before. So yeah, that's sort of me in a nutshell, I guess. When I started singing with my mom when I was 5, she'd give me, I think, like $25 or something, and I would sing like Walking After Midnight by Patsy Cline, and this other song about Rita stealing a candy bar, and just, I was just excited to get the money to spend at a powwow that I would buy gifts for everybody. And I don't know, I've always been very caring, and definitely an empath, and care deeply about other people. But I'm also, a bit of an introvert, and so it's an interesting experience, especially singing on stage. One of my tricks that I tell people, especially if they're nervous, is to not look at anybody. I used to just look in the back towards exit sign or something, and try to look stoic, which is basically what my mom wanted. And she wanted me to have long brown hair and sort of emulate this indigeneity, and so I would rebel and dye my hair every color under the rainbow and shave the sides, have a mohawk, every wild thing you could think of. Through my different fashion stages, I was a raver back in the 90s, and had a little hippie phase, and some of the stuff I wore, I've saved it all. I made it all. It's a little embarrassing, but it's it's kind of a part of fashion history for me. But my mom brought me to my first rave when I was 8 in Germany, and they were spinning her music, and that's when I fell in love. I was like, wow, what is this? There was like smoke machine and lights, and it was just really cool. And so I blame her for that. But I think she always wanted me to live my life how I wanted, She had grown up as a Seventh-day Adventist when she was younger and was very, pious and walked around with her hands in prayer and stuff. And she was just, a really, really good girl. And she always was just the cutest. My favorite thing to do is tease her. And I miss her. I miss her laugh. I miss her silliness. And, it's just a different world without her. But I sang a song recently with the Syracuse Symphony, 3 songs, and that was really hard because I'm used to singing backup. But one of them was Feather in the Wind, and it says, I want to be where the wind flows, I want to be where the time grows. And I kept thinking, that's what she wanted, I think, because I can't imagine she wasn't in a lot of pain. So it was really rough watching her. And she's a trooper. She's very powerful and very strong and dedicated to her craft. I had to share her with the world, and that was really hard as a little kid growing up. So I want to make sure, I can try to give my son just a happy, healthy home. And I think that I'm on my way there. I've been working very hard on that. I'm trying to finish my degree and move forward with things as I can, and also to be gentle with myself, because these are very difficult times, and for everybody, right? So I have a couple things coming up, fashion show, and a little bit of I'm in a concert at the Art Park June 18th weekend, and then I think there's going to be 2 memorials for my mom, one in Auburn, New York in the fall, and then one at Syracuse University in the fall. And some other cool gigs coming up. It's really strange. I'm just used to working with her, so I'm doing my best to handle stuff. And yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say for now. I hope you like the songs I've recorded, and I'll include notes about them in some form as well. Anyway, now go for listening, and have a great day. Mediwa.
The last one shook, and the quiet turned to dread as they all considered their fate. Then went back to what they were doing before he died. One less in the herd, it's thinner now, colder now. We're all growing older now. Which one is next? She cries out, hand gripping her chest, sweat on her brow, frantically reaching for what now is a whisper, some memory and a distant dream. What was and what could have been, living in yesterday's shadow. She grips him so tightly her fingers and eyes bleed, weeping for peace, never again knowing sleep. Her pain keeps him here, a torture one cannot fathom. Ooh, da ba da ba da da ba da ba la da 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 ba la da da ba da la da. Oh, oh, I was blessed with your presence. Your soul has promises to keep, written in the collective unconscious, hidden and deep. Ooh, da ba da ba da da ba da ba da da da. Da 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 ba la ba da da ba da da ba. Oh, oh, the last one shook and their quiet turned to dread.
The song is called Weight of the World off my first album, Spectra, produced by J.J. Boogie from Arrested Development. Weight of the world put a curve in my neck. Heart shattered from years of disrespect. Recently I discovered my true self, hidden behind years of neglect. Oh, I am my higher self. I am full of sunset. I am my higher self. I am full of sunsets. Light shine bright, beautiful, and correct. Oh yeah, yeah. I am my higher self. I am full of sunsets. Light shine bright, beautiful, and correct. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you beauteous wonder, stars shine on your lips. Kiss me and feel my cells emerge with yours. A lovely union, our souls continue. Bliss, my heart is open to you. Your love is my only wish. Blessed as wine, we exist in heaven. My heart is open to you. Your love is my only wish. Beauteous wonder.
to you. Your love is my only wish. Blessed as one, we exist in heaven. This song is called Spine is Tingling off of the Spectra album. My spine is tingling, it's apparent they're still with me. A golden fortress of light, it makes me feel safe at night. Although I heard their voices, I prayed and hoped that the worst has passed me on by. Sweet dream, please come to my mind. Most nights, tossing and a-turning, my brain feverish and yearning for slumber, lovely and sublime. Gloomy scenes filling my eyes, hard to breathe, heart is in my chest. The sun comes out, clouds regress, pass me on by. Sweet dream, please come to my mind. Retribution is imminent. I can keep a good hand holding a machete. Ow, the antis are coming. Get ready. Ow. Hey, oh, la, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Hey, oh, la, hey, oh, hey, oh, ah, ah. Hey, oh, la, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Hey, oh, la, hey, oh, hey, oh, ah, ah. My name is Shenandoah.
I like it.
Saw you late last night. I know where you've been. Another bruise to match the old one done by his hand. This isn't love. How can you even pretend? Face of an angel, broken down again. I don't recognize you anymore. Black and white shadow, your skin, your face is one I don't know. Not the one I grew up with. But I miss you.
Your smile is dead and gone.
But I miss you.
It hurts to see you this numb.
But I miss you.
How long can this go on?
But I miss you.
I can't say where you began.
My shadow self-will. He broke the spirit I lost again. I fell for it. My immortal sin. He tried to steal my soul and sell my skin.
Your smile is dead and gone.
But I miss you.
It hurts to say how this goes.
But I miss you.
How long can this go on?
But I miss you.
I can't say what you've become.
Dead and gone. It hurts to feel this now. How long can this go on? I can't see what I
Pretty good. Pretty.
The blood in my veins survived. My grandma's aunties, they survived. My sister's stolen and forgotten survived through us.
They get caught on my hands. They get caught on my heart. That's war they wage on us. Was over at the start.
The blood in my veins survived. My grandma's aunties, they survived. My sister's stolen and forgotten survived through us.
Strap knives on my wrist. Watch how I make them bleed. I'll fight until I have nothing left. Then I'll rip them apart with my teeth.
Onyo'ta Kayue, Onyo'ta Kayue, Wehio, Hawi Hawi Negai, NWIA Heya. Onyo'ta Kayue, Onyo'ta Kayue, Wehio, Hawi Hawi Negai, NWIA Heya. Onyo'ta Kayue, Onyo'ta Kayue, Wehio, Hawi Hawi Negai, NWIA Heya. Onyo'ta Kayue, Onyo'ta Kayue, Wehio, Hawi Hawi Negai, NWIA Heya. Yo-ho!
And another song in honor of my mom.
I am standing on the edge of wondering where to go. Love and hatred fill my being, torn in this world of woe. What happened to the love we knew and the way we cared back then? Prophecies are coming true, but this will not be the end. Oh no, this won't be the end. For in our darkest hour, we will not be afraid. When others lose their way, we will rise.